Story 2. The Good Samaritan. On the road from Jerusalem to Jericho, the wind swept through the dusty desert. This road was infamous for its danger. It was a place where robbers often lurked. One Jewish man was traveling alone. Before long, he was ambushed by a group of thieves. They stripped him of his belongings, beat him mercilessly, and left him for dead, bleeding and barely breathing. Time passed. The sun rose higher. A priest, the very one considered closest to God, walked by. He saw the wounded man, but fearing ritual impurity or perhaps in haste to perform sacred duties, he crossed to the other side and kept walking, without a glance of compassion. Next came a Levite, a temple assistant. He too saw the man lying unconscious, but after a brief look, he hurried away, leaving no trace of mercy. Now, only the dying man remained, burning in the desert heat and alone in his suffering. Then, from a distance, a Samaritan approached, riding a donkey. Samaritans were considered impure by the Jews, despised, avoided, scorned. But it was this man, not the priest, not the Levite, who stopped. Moved with compassion, he came closer. He gently cleaned the wounds with wine and oil, wine to disinfect, oil to soothe. He tore his own clothing to bandage the wounds, then carefully lifted the man onto his donkey and led him to a nearby inn. He did not abandon him. That night, the Samaritan stayed and cared for this stranger, without obligation, without reward. The next morning, he gave the innkeeper 2 denarii, a considerable sum, and said, "Take care of him. If the cost goes beyond this, I'll reimburse you when I return." When Jesus finished telling this story, he turned to the teacher of the law and asked, "Now, which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers?" The man replied, "The one who showed mercy." Jesus said, "Go and do likewise." Compassion does not reside in titles or religious roles. It lives in hearts willing to stop, to love the stranger, and to turn actions into living testimonies of God's love. The Samaritan, despised by society, became the light of Christ through his kindness.